The first time Michael Turner noticed Hannah Brooks, it wasn't because she was loud or confident or trying to be seen. It was because she sat perfectly still in the corner of a crowded community center in Cedar Falls, Iowa, like someone afraid that taking up space might be a burden. The room buzzed with laughter and movement, yet there was something heavy and unspoken around her, a quiet gravity that pulled attention without asking for it. Michael didn't know then that this moment would change both of their lives, only that something inside him slowed down, as if life itself was telling him to pay attention. Before the story goes any further, take a moment. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and love that chooses to stay even when it's hard, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that may be hurting in silence. Hannah had grown used to being invisible long before that evening. At 32, she had mastered the art of smiling politely while people asked questions that stung without meaning to. She lived alone in a small rented duplex on the edge of town, worked remotely as a medical billing specialist, and avoided mirrors whenever possible. Years earlier, a sudden illness had torn through her life like a storm. Multiple surgeries, months in hospitals, and a long recovery had saved her life, but left her body marked in ways she believed made her unlovable. Those scars weren't just on her skin, they lived in her posture, her hesitation, and the way she flinched at the idea of being chosen. Michael's life looked stable from the outside. At 35, he was a structural engineer, recently transferred from Ohio, carrying his own quiet loneliness after a broken engagement that ended not in drama but in exhaustion. He volunteered at the community center on weekends, partly to fill time, partly because helping others kept him from thinking too much about what he had lost. He wasn't searching for anything when he met Hannah. He was simply present, and presence has a way of opening doors when expectations are left behind. They began with small moments, shared tasks, casual glances, long silences that felt strangely comfortable. Hannah noticed how Michael listened without interrupting, how he never rushed to fill quiet spaces. Michael noticed how Hannah's eyes lit up when she talked about books, how her laugh surprised even herself, as if she had forgotten what it sounded like. Over weeks, the walls softened. Coffee turned into walks. Walks turned into evenings that stretched longer than planned. Yet beneath every smile, Hannah carried a countdown. She had lived this pattern before. Interest always faded when closeness approached. She knew the moment was coming when she would have to explain herself, when truth would either be accepted or quietly rejected. Fear became a familiar companion, sitting beside her even in moments of happiness. The night it happened was unremarkable on the surface. A modest dinner at Michael's apartment in Des Moines, rain tapping softly against the windows, the kind of evening that feels safe until it doesn't. Hannah's chest felt tight, the weight of unspoken truth pressing harder than usual. She knew she could not keep going without honesty, not again. She told him, without embellishment, that people never stayed once they knew everything, that dating always ended the same way, that she didn't blame anyone, but she was tired. What followed was not dramatic in action, but seismic in meaning. Hannah revealed the truth she had been hiding, lifting her shirt just enough to show the reality of her past, not in shame, but in exhaustion. The scars told a story of survival, of pain endured and life reclaimed at a cost. She waited for the familiar shift, the subtle withdrawal she had learned to recognize too well. Michael didn't step back. He didn't look away. What moved through him was not shock, but clarity. In that moment, he didn't see scars. He saw resilience. He saw a woman who had fought for her life and still found the courage to let someone close. The room felt quiet, sacred even, as if something fragile was being trusted into his hands. From that night on, their relationship changed, not by becoming easier, but by becoming real. Hannah's fear didn't vanish overnight. Healing never works that way. There were days she pulled back, moments when old insecurities resurfaced, times when she tested distance to see if he would leave. Michael stayed steady. Not perfect, but present. He learned that love wasn't about convincing someone they were enough, but about showing up consistently until they could believe it themselves. They built a life slowly. Sunday mornings at the farmer's market, long drives through Iowa backroads, quiet evenings where nothing needed to be proven. Hannah began to stand straighter, to meet her own reflection without flinching. She started speaking openly about her past, not as a warning but as a chapter she had survived. Michael, in turn, learned that strength often wears a softer face than he had been taught to admire. The real transformation came not in grand gestures, but in the ordinary. The way Hannah laughed without checking herself, the way Michael reached for her without hesitation. Love did not erase the scars, it gave them context. They were no longer symbols of rejection but reminders of endurance. As this story nears its end, if it has touched something in you, if it reminded you that love can be patient and humanity can still surprise us, please take a moment to like this video, share it, and subscribe. Your engagement helps keep stories of hope alive. And before the final moment, we have one special request. Please comment the word "stayed" below if you believe that the most powerful form of love is the kind that doesn't run when things get real. Hannah once believed no one would choose her once they saw the whole truth. She was wrong, not because the world suddenly became kinder, but because one person decided that her story, scars and all, was worth staying for. And sometimes, that is enough to change everything.